The Women of Wild Hill by Kirsten Miller. This book follows the story in the current time, because we do flash back to the past a bit with this and like the history of Wild Hill and all that. But currently it focuses on two sisters, and that is Bridget and Phoebe. They have had a falling out due to family tragedy and also drama and such. Bridget is a famous like horror movie star. Now she directs and lives out in California. And Phoebe has this ranch in Texas where she helps women who are in need and is a healer of sorts. They both have different abilities and have come from this line of women that are witches and have had power throughout their lives. So there's a place called Wild Hill, and that is where they grew up when they were kids. They're basically kind of being called back to Wild Hill by the old one, and they don't want to go. The old one's kind of sending messengers, sends ravens to Bridget. She's like, I don't want to go see my sister, no. And then Phoebe is visited by this really giant hog that the message is pretty clear that it wants her to go visit and talk to her sister. Both of them ignore it. Stuff happens where they are forced to go back to Wild Hill to meet their destiny, per se. And so the whole history of Wild Hill, there was this woman named Bessie, and her husband had been coming over on one of the ships with colonizers back in the day to come to the New World and to settle there, this, that, and the other. And then on the journey, several people died, and one of the people that ended up dying was the husband. And immediately these like people are trying to marry her off, like her husband's dead and gone for all of 30 minutes, and they're like, we need to marry you off. Woman can't be by herself, blah blah blue blue blue, Christian, the Lord, whatever they think, I don't know. Anyways, so the second she gets off the boat, she takes the F off and like escapes. She takes her stuff with her and she goes along, and she ends up saving this woman. I think her name was like Cheppy or something like that. Those two go and they survive. Bessie had a bunch of seeds with her. She knew how to grow stuff, and so Cheppy and her go to this place on Wild Hill where stuff grows in abundance and stuff is really good. And those two, they have a little hut there, this, that, and the other. And eventually Cheppy ends up going back to find her people and whatnot. And Bessie stays in this little hut on her hill and is happy and thriving. And one day, the men who were on that boat with her show up, and their village is starving and this, that, and the other. And they ask for help, and she helps them. And then, of course, those a-holes come back. They rob her of all her stuff, and then they drag her to jail. And then they decide that she's whatever, and they hang her and kill her. And so she curses them. And eventually all those people die, every single one of them. They starve to death. Nothing will grow on Wild Hill, where all the food used to grow that they stole from her. And because of what they did, for years and years, Bessie won't allow anyone to build on this hill. She haunts that place. And then one day, there's this man that comes, and he's a richer man, and he wants to build this big mansion. And she's like, there's no way, I'm not having it. But then the old one gives her this vision of the woman that will come there. This woman will start the beginnings of what is to be a wave to turn the tides on the direction that mankind is heading in. And so she allows this mansion to be built. This woman comes there and has two daughters, and this is a line of witches. And eventually you get through like the different story of families, and we come to present day where you have Bridget and Phoebe. Bridget has the power where she can see people's deaths, like how they're going to die. And then, as I said, Phoebe's a healer, but they also have their different abilities. And then Phoebe also has a daughter named Sybil. And so there's always been this kind of prophecy about there will be three of the most powerful witches in this family line that will turn the tides against the crap and the way that mankind is going. But these sisters had a big falling out. Their mother had died in a very upsetting way, and that kind of tore the family apart, and the girls weren't old enough to be on their own, so they went and ended up with their fathers. They had two different dads, so they went in two different directions. And eventually, Bridget, as soon as she was 18, she left home. Phoebe had asked something of her, and the message just kind of got lost and didn't get through. And then Phoebe didn't realize that, and then Bridget didn't even know a message was sent to her. So they had this big falling out over a big misunderstanding. And so there's all this like animosity and whatnot over something that happened that was a misunderstanding. So anyways, something happens where they both have to go back to Wild Hill. And then Sybil is also called there as well. And so they all end up there. And then they have to put their family drama aside. Will they be able to do that? Well, I would hope so. I really enjoyed this book. It's witchy, it's weird, there's family drama, it's hopeful, it's sad, it is a lot of different things. It was a very addictive read. I liked the way the author writes. I liked the characters. I liked how it was a page turner. Like, I was probably pretty invested in the story from the first few pages, if I'm being honest. But I love stories like that. I love witchy books. So something like this is definitely always going to appeal to me. If you're a fan of witchy books, stories about family, magic, and a-holes getting what they deserve, then The Women of Wild Hill by Kirsten Miller might just be for you. And if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.